Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to All About Racing for the fourth round of the season here in Zandvoort. And we've got a much more compact grid this evening, the smallest one we've had in PGR for quite a long time. The track is 4.2 kilometres, 2.6 miles in length, 36 laps to race around here a little later on, 14 corners at this place as well. Going to reach a top speed of 315 kilometres an hour and 195 miles an hour, and we've got an elevation change of 16 metres, so a pretty decent amount of elevation change around this track, and the longest straight is 678 metres in length. The tyres are the C3 soft, C2 mediums and C1 hard tyre. The standings are as follows. Atmos leading the championship on 102 points, Matty on 91, 90 for Cold Steel. Never Fear, who was leading, is now on 70 points, down to fourth place, 67 points for Prof and Raf in 6th, 7th is Perry, 8th is Raz, 9th is Grant, and Lehman is in 10th. Sauber on 192, 146 for Williams, Aston Martin on 136, 122 points for McLaren, and 117 for Haas. Alpine 6th, 7th Racing Bulls, Mercedes are in 8th, 9th is Ferrari, and Red Bull are down in 10th place. So watching Cold Steel out on his lap. Hello everyone in the chat. Nice to see you come along. Anyone who hasn't subscribed yet to the channel, please do so. I think we're one away from 500. It's been teasing around, so 2 or 3 of you getting a subscribe in would be fantastic. I was going to say subscription, but that would technically have been correct. I don't know why I didn't say it. So Atmos only hopes he can hold on to his P1 in the championship. Not here this evening. So Cold Steel halfway around the lap. Just coming through the final part. Of the lap, and across the line, second fastest, he's got a 1:09.7 already on the board. You see Pre for Yi, who has not yet seen the checkered flag this season. Go fastest, his teammate just goes into fourth place, slowest of the first 4 to set a lap. So never fear. Goes fastest overall, and then off the track. And now Wimsky going fastest, a 109.2. Don't think we're going to have any rain for this event. I don't believe so anyway. Sorry guys, I've just got to go into pause for a minute. Bear with me. And we're back, all sorted. Sorry about that. So, boy knocked out on a lap at the moment. And no one else actually seems to be on a lap. Cold Steel just about to go on his initial lap. And just coming through turn 7 and into turn 8, Master Bosch, and just missing the apex there on the right hand side into the next couple of corners. Bosch 9 and 10, and down the first DRS straight, 1 of 2, around into the stadium section. That's turn 12, and then only 2 more corners to go. Goes 8th fastest, Cold Steel. So as Cold Steel makes his way through turn 8, he was down in the first sector. As he comes around the final couple of corners, coming up now down this short stretch towards turn 13. 1 pole to his name this season so far, 1 podium as well, sitting 3rd place in the championship. Only 12 points off the lead and comes into the pit lane. It wasn't a better lap than the previous one. So on we go now for Diablo, up to the line. 10th place at the moment, stays 10th fastest, was slightly down from his previous attempt. Looney Man, he looks to be on a lap down in the first sector though, however. Coming through Master Bosch into turn 9 and turn 10, parallels of one another. We scamper out down towards the stadium section, turns 11 and 12. As we go past Hans Ernest in that stadium section, that chicane, and around the final 2 corners around the banking of turn 14, and again comes into the pits like we saw before with his teammate Prof on a lap. No, he's down as well. Diablo must be coming in as well. The provisional pole sitter extends his provisional pole by over 2.5 tenths and goes purple in all 3 sectors. Both racing bulls here this evening. Grant started on the front row last time out in Spain, took the lead into turn 1 as well after Atmos didn't get the greatest of starts. Of course, he did reclaim that first place spot and take the win last time out in Barcelona. So as we wait for drivers to decide what to do, just over 3.5 minutes left on the clock. And now Rumsky in the pits, just about 5 minutes left. Car 19 back into the pits, and only 3 drivers out on the circuit now, with one of them having their out laps completed. And a big lock up into turn 3 there. And collects a bit of the grass as well as he comes through. The first part of sector 2, turn 9. Looking a little untidy, but he is just going slowly, probably going to start again, or is he going to come in? Has he got enough time to do that and get back out again? It is going to be close for the 74 Alpine. The Scotsman of Never Fear, he's out on an out lap, missed out last time out like Atmos is this week. Dropped him down a few places, as Atmos said in the chat, hoping to keep his championship lead into the next round in Hungary next week. And is anyone actually on a lap at the moment? Pray for Yi. He has just completed his lap. I do assume his name is about Ye's in Kanye West. I don't call him Ye, but I'm assuming that's what that's for. If he watches this back, just message me if it's not the case. Done that for a long time now though. Never fear. Just around turn 3, everyone in the game takes the low line at that corner. As he goes through the first sector, he does take a purple first sector there. It was a 23.828 for him as Croft just moves his way up into third place. As he comes around the final couple of corners, never fear. Has no fear on this lap. He might go provisional pole here. No. Front row though. Less than half a tenth. No poles this season so far. One time on the podium. Early on this season. Just going to find out where. It was a third place at the opening round in Miami. Massey on the lap here, looks to be, and he's just got himself in a pickle. Does he feel like he was held up by the Mercedes driver? Did Diablo impede him? Did he feel like he had? So apparently I was right about Profi's name, and no one else has worked it out. I thought that would have just been really obvious. It's not even Profi, yeah. That sounds real silly. Welcome everyone who's watching along. 10 seconds left in the session before the checker flag is out. People are out on their laps at the moment, as you can see. Marshy, is he getting in the way of Sniper? No, he's going slowly. Matty isn't improving either. Rumsky is down on the lap like before. A couple of them are improving on their times. Cold Steel coming up to the line now, goes 6th fastest, just over 2.5 tenths up on his previous attempt. As Diablo coming up to the line, it didn't look good. It does look good at the end, but he isn't able to move up any places. It does improve his lap. Here comes Grant, improves his lap as well, but stays 11th fastest. Razin Destroy now around the final corner, the last driver, I believe, to set a lap now in qualifying. Where does it put him? Stays 12th fastest with a 109.893. That is the end of qualifying. Rumsky is on pole. We'll be back for the start of the formation lap. So, as we get ready for the start of the formation lap, we'll have a look at everyone's tyres. Everyone on mediums or hards, Never Fear and Matty, the only two drivers on the hard tyres. That's second and third place. Everyone else is on the medium tyre for the start of proceedings. So only 13, but remember the drivers are pretty good in all the tiers that I've commentated over anyway, that I can speak about for Power Grid. So I think even though we're a little short on the numbers this evening, the racing should still be equally as good. Hopefully the pack will arguably feel even tighter than usual. So keep an eye on Rumsky. He's got a bit of an advantage over his two teammates behind. His drivers are going to start doing burnouts, especially Never Fear and Matty. He should be really focusing on getting those tyres warmed up to optimal temperature and really gets hard on the brakes as he comes into his starting position. It doesn't actually do any burnouts, rather does more of an emergency stop as we wait for the drivers to line up on the grid, just waiting for Marshy at the back. And Raz is the only one to get pushed back in his box. So, Rumsky on pole, Never Fear alongside, 5 red lights and foot's flat to the floor here in Zandvoort, as Rumsky does get a good launch being on those mediums, and so does Prop as he looks to attack into turn 1, but then has to defend against Sniper, who tries to go the long way round in that Alpine and does go the long way round and gets the move done. The Racing Bulls there of Grant going off the road, so is the Williams here of Matty, and then makes contact with the Alpine of Sniper, who then gets overtaken by Prop once again after he was a couple of corners ago. As we go and finish the roller coaster section, the strategy's up on your screen. We're mainly looking at a two-stop strategy here. The softs not looking like they're going to be touched for this evening's race. So Rumsky going to hope to get himself outside of that DRS range as we come to the line. He's not yet at a second, he's actually closer to half a second than it was a second. Movement at the back as Marshy gets overtaken by Raz and Destroy, who then goes off the road, and a lot of drivers taking that Max Verstappen line from earlier on this year and then having to try and gather himself up into turn 3, and luckily he didn't make any contact there at the apex of the third corner. Around turn 9 we go. Watching the leaders is Never Fear, sticks close by, yellow flag deployed. Marshy may have made a mistake there. Raz and him made contact with one another. So DRS available for Never Fear now, out of the banking. Matty takes the fastest lap of the race. An overtake there from Sniper. A lock up from Prof as the Aston Martins both inside the top 10. A lot of points up for grabs today, of course, only being 13 drivers. We'll see if we can have everyone finish today. I've said it now, commentator's curse. It will not happen. Lap 3 of 36. Rumsey still leading the way. So Rumsey just sitting outside the top 10 of the drivers' standings. Might not be in the lead of the race for very much longer either, as Never Fear really does try to go for a opportunistic move there. A bit of a dive bomb at turn 1, Tarzan corner, but isn't able to make it work. Rumsey still leads as we go through that roller coaster section. Average position this season so far into round 4 for Rumsey has been 11th place finish for him on average. And he has only completed 2 of the 3 races so far this season, retiring from the first round of the season. It hasn't come up with any points for the second round, as Never Fear now tries to take the position with maximum points and does so out of Tarzan corner. Lap 5 of 36, we have a new race leader in Never Fear. So the only driver improving on this lap so far is Prof in 5th place. Trying to close in on 4th place Sniper. We have this tight midfield pack. Grant down there in 10th place, did very well last time out in Barcelona, getting that 3rd place finish. Losing a place overall after he qualified in 2nd place. And so early on took the lead into turn 1 as we see contact between the Ferrari of Pray For Ye and Boy Knockout in 8th place. Through the left, right and then left again in turn 3 as they all stay low in the banking as we have the first pit stop of the evening, and that would be Marshy as he moves to the hard tyre. And he's now 26 seconds back from the next car. Top 3 all staying with one another. It's very usual to see a 3-car train. It's not unusual at all. Boy Knockout though has had the front wing knocked off and it's a virtual safety car deployed. And if anyone can get back round, it has happened. right at the end of the lap where most people had already gone through to start lap 7. And Raz comes in and decides to retire from the race. We're down to 12. You do get around a 12 to 15 second relative pit stop time. With the time gained, it's more like 8 to 12 seconds under safety car conditions. Normal green flags were 20 to 22 seconds in the pit box in total. Obviously with a front wing change, looking about an extra 7 or 8 seconds on top of that as well. Green flags flying again, but we do have a yellow flag in the first sector. That's for Raz's stricken car that has come out of the pits. So a lot of people lapping in the low 124s. Before we knock it out in clean air with a new set of tyres on. Very decent middle sector time. So is Marshy as well. So we'll see what they can do in clear air. Prof certainly isn't in clear air, right under the rear wing of that Alpine. As the battle for fourth continues on. As Prey is just, I was just about to say, just outside of the DRS window as he creeps himself back in again. As Raz leaves the session. Top 3 start lap 9. Grumsky getting closer there, but never fear been able to keep his position as we have a retirement again for Pray for Ye. Another race that he isn't able to see the checker flag. It's now a safety car deployed. We're down to 11 already on lap 9 of 36. And that should cause a chain of pit stops. Diablo going on to a new set of tyres. And has connected to that 2-stop. Going on to another set of mediums. We'll probably go to the hards to the end. I would guess pitting it around lap 20. Something like that. Never fear. It's going very slowly here. Into the pits for the top 5. Cardeal going on 2. Mediums for Matty, hards for the others. So just waiting for a few to catch up at the back. Matty and Boy Knockout are the only drivers to be breaking even at the moment before we go on to lap 11, staying in their original grid positions. So we'll probably have one more lap before we get going. Pretty old place, this circuit. First Dutch Grand Prix here was in 1952. It was first established in 1948. A lot of the roads used that were constructed during World War II were used as the racetrack for this place. Obviously, as most of you know from the aerial shots when you watch it on the telly, it's right on the coast of the North Sea. It's 25 kilometres due northwest of the capital city of Amsterdam. And it's not going to be on the calendar for much longer. Have we got one more season, or was this the last one? I can't remember now, actually. Came back, of course, in 2021 and had some track alterations to come back in 21 during sort of the pandemic era. And I think just a smidge before that as well, as we have the safety car in now at the end of this lap. And Never Fear will be the one to get us going again. The safety car will come into the pits in just a moment. And it will be clear to go whenever he likes now, as he goes right in the mid-corner of the final corner in the banking and gets us going again. Good launch from Never Fear there. As we get back racing again on lap 12 of 36. Nobody going for a lunge in turn 1. Anyone going to go for a lunge in turn 3? Or maybe Boy Knockout if he gets a good launch out of the corner. Very, very close through turn 7, but then has to drop back just a little bit. So as we go on to lap 13, and DRS will be available again. Very, very close between the top 3. As Diablo goes up the inside, then Grant tries to get him back around the outside using the racing line. He does get back through. No one has been able to break away. And it's a full field DRS straight as we come down between turn 10 and Hannah Ernest Boss before coming up to the final two corners of 13 and 14. And we get on to the longest DRS straight, using the DRS through the banking. We will come down across the line, and Rumsky this time demands the space on the inside, but it isn't there enough. The straight always seems to be just 50 metres too short to get the overtake done. It's a difficult place, even in sim racing, to get those overtakes done. Here comes Matty. Is he going to go for the move? He's going to think about it. And it wasn't fully alongside, so that gap did close. Was inevitably going to close, and he knew it. Just sat on the brakes a bit longer than his rival ahead. This time, Rumsky has got the launch out of turn 14 and has got the move at turn 1, takes first place. So again, only Marshy now, who has broken away, or should I say fallen away, from the pack. The only driver to have a time penalty as well. Time penalty. Marshy got. Stop and go penalty. For Marshy, and here goes Never Fear again, the Scotsman on the inside. And the Englishman holds on for the moment. We haven't seen that breakaway from the top three like we did last time around. Grant's made a mistake here, dropping down quite a few places, down into 10th place now. Still got just over half the race left to go, and here goes Prof into the penultimate corner. Don't see moves there all that often. We don't see moves back all that often. Is on the inside comes Sniper trying to get the place back. Is he going to get DRS? No. Prof got it where he got the overtake done earlier on. More overtakes happening just up ahead at Tarzan corner. Never Fear back into the lead of the race once again. The lead changing hands for about the 4th or 5th time so far today. Sniper trying to experiment with different lines at turn 3. Going a little bit higher there on the exit. So that gap now starting to increase for the top three as Prof is fighting with Sniper once again. That gap is extending, and then Prof has to bail out of it, I think, because Sniper locked up and maybe just came across his line. Blue Man going to try and overtake his teammate here. So moves happening here towards that Diablo, and then Grant trying to go on the outside and then loses the place to Diablo. Maybe didn't see him there until the last minute because they made a slight bit of contact. Top three. All very close together at the moment. 2.2 seconds is the gap to fourth place. Sniper has that position back and has a bit of breathing space behind him as well. And it's now a big old train from fifth place all the way down to Grant in 10th, 6 cars. In this train at the moment, Sniper on his own. And the top three is, as usual, from earlier on, all in a fight together as well. Apologies for turning the audio off there, didn't need to do that. Oh, interesting, cold steel now, just lost a bit of ground to Prof. I'm sure they really be trying to get back into his DRS. Just as we're talking about that, never fear, losing a place to Matty. Did he make a mistake on the exit of turn 10? Up 21 of 36. We're just a bit over the way, just a bit over halfway through this race now at this point. Grant up into 8th place. It's a 3-place game for him at the moment. Showing a yellow flag in sector 3, but we need to ignore that. It's not actually the case. I think when we do actually get the next yellow flag, it goes away afterwards. It's a slight glitch. So Rumsky into the pits, only 11 laps on those hard tyres for him. Interesting. Feels a little bit early is Matty. 12 laps now on those mediums that he takes on to the gravel. So will Matty pit this lap? I'm assuming. So, seeing as Rumsky pits and his pit, it was almost a fantastic pit stop actually to get himself some clean air. However, he's down in ninth, stuck behind Marshy. What penalty has Marshy actually got? Because it's 10 seconds he's got. Okay, and then an overtake for Never Fear into the lead, and these guys must surely be thinking about pitting pretty soon on, as Marshy now comes in and releases Rumsky, who has some clear air, and we'll keep an eye on his lap time this time around. And we'll see how much better he's doing than others around him. Never Fear though, on those used tyres, is set a purple first sector on this lap so far. As we get to the end of sector 2, it's a pretty decent second sector. He's really pulling the hammer down, I think, and coming into the pits at the end of this lap and trying to do the overcut. Rumsky's around 18 seconds or so behind. Never Fear didn't actually come in. Matty did though, and coming off those medium tyres onto another set of medium tyres to end the race. He started on the hard tyres as one of those two drivers to start on the hard, and comes out in 6th place, not too far behind Rumsky actually, and has got a fresh set of mediums to go to the end, so it's be quite interesting for him. We'll see if Never Fear can pump in another pretty good lap time. And will he come in at the end of this lap? He will indeed. Prof Looneyman come through. Rumsky's coming through the banking. No Fear just comes to the end of the pits. Will Matty get out ahead as well? He will indeed. And Rumsky put in a crucial lap that time around, so did Matty. It was a quick lap from him also. And I'm assuming the top three will pit one final time. Been on those tyres for 15 laps. 2 of those were under safety car conditions though. So it's more like 13.5 laps of wear at full speed, realistically. Croft being towed along by Looneyman. Looneyman's been given the option to pit first. he will come out compared to everyone else, as Matty then takes the fastest lap of the race as Looneyman comes to the end of the pits. He's going to come out around Sniper just behind them, just ahead. Oh, Diablo, or maybe not. It's going to be close. He might actually be behind. No, slots in just ahead of Grant. And you surely really want to see the hammer down as they make contact side to side there. Don't think it was actually wheel banging. I think there was more bodywork involved with that one. Is Grant going to get the move done? Into the next corner. He's got new hards. They are up to temperature proper. Looneyman's probably are at that point as well, as Rumsky's getting towards the front. Matty's actually overtaking him, and we've missed it. And so these two are fighting it out, never fear. So this is way back. We're getting close to the point now where everyone would have done their final stops. He's getting closer. To the back of the two cars ahead. The two lead cars, and starting to create that three-car train we've been so used to seeing before this pit stop chain happened. Boy Knockout gets closer to his teammate. The Alpines running 4th and 5th, 6th place in the championship on 105 points. This would be a very good points haul for them today. Ferrari lead with absolutely no points. His Razin Destroyer has really been collecting all points so far this season. As there's your tyres on screen at request of Atmos. So a bit of a mixed bag. Some drivers on fresher tyres. We'll see what the two Aston Martin drivers can do. Will they catch up to the back of Boy Knockout? Have a chance of making up more time, because Sniper's got that 10-second penalty that he has to serve at the end. Never fear. Now, in that 1 second gap, and the way that these three have organised their pit stops, I feel like the tyres are going to become sort of a level playing field, really. Slightly older hard tyres, but they'll last a bit longer, of course, and then the mediums for both of them very, very similar age, but they're also going to drop off a bit more. So I think we're going to get to a point where they're quite even with grip levels towards the end, which will make it interesting, which we're coming up on 7 laps to go. Now, just to double check this one more time, I think we're all good on pit stops now. I think pretty much everyone is going to go to the end. Maybe Boy Knockout might come in, but I think he's just going to try and drag those tyres to the finish. Keep an eye on Diablo as well. He might come in. We're just going to put it to the time penalties for a second with a easy to remember. There's only 2 of them as of right now, and Matty could be losing the place to Rumsky as he goes on the outside, but off the inside for 2 and then for 3 as well. And the move is done. Matty with that 3-second penalty though. Just Never Fear tries to duck up and under. Knows he needs to get past Matty because he's not really involved in this race win fight right now, unless the other two do get themselves some time penalties. I'm sorry, I thought we had 35 laps, not 36 laps, so this will be 7 laps to go, the one we're on. Oh, bit of a mistake there from Matty. Never Fear going past. Matty actually lifted off quite a bit. Second place in the championship for him at the moment. I think would take the lead of the championship. Sorry, Atmos, if it stays the way it is. Going in to the next round. Never Fear. Sizing, eyeing up a move for the lead. We're going to have 5 laps to go when we cross the line. As we come up towards turn 1, Never Fear thinks about it. Bit more of a dummy move, I think, than anything else. Here comes Prof, overtaking his teammate for 6th place. I wonder if that was orchestrated or not. Very close between the two Astons and the Racing Bulls of Grant. So 4 laps to go when we cross the line. We're also keeping a close eye on the battle for 6th place. Here comes Never Fear again, much closer this time. He's going to demand some space, but that outside always looks so good on the exit, and I feel like it's the better overtaking / defending line on the outside. One of those unique 180-degree corners that is better on the outside than it is on the inside. In most cases it's because the next corner is the opposite direction to the corner you've been fighting on. So with that one there is a left-hander, and I think it does help that there is huge traction on the outside of that corner. And I think with these 3 as well, we're just checking. Neither of these 3, I mean, Matty's still technically in it. If either of these 2 get a time penalty, well, both of them, would need to get a time penalty for Matty, but none of these three have won a race this season so far, so we would have a new race winner. Only a handful of chances now. Oh, who's that around? Boy, knockout. Himself going again. Oh, he's left the session. I'm sure they'll classify him because of how far he's gone today. Who is going to win out? We've got one more battle down to turn one. They both know it. They're both charging up the battery. Going to be very similar on battery deployment, I would imagine. Down into one. Rumsky, though, will get that extra DRS deployment. Will Matty get involved as well? Just for a bit of fun, just to throw a spanner in the works. Around 10-10. Tricky for Rumsky. 13 laps on those hard tyres now. And they really will be coming towards the end of their life. So one more shot for the Racing Bulls driver. And he's using everything he's got. Is he going to go to the inside again? The outside, as I said, has been a good defensive line as Rumsky really tries to go for it this time. He's going to have to try and hold on as best he can as they go side by side. A bit of contact between the two of them. And he's around. Rumsky on the final lap going into turn 3 has been spun around. And Never Fear will take the win if he keeps it on the road himself. But Rumsky is going to be furious with that. We saw a side angle of it. Wasn't too sure if he was left space or not, but have to wait for the stewards to take a look at that later on into the week. I won't want to comment on that one whatsoever because it was a difficult angle to judge it. But what dramatic scenes. It looked like it was going to be a duel all the way to the end on this final lap. But Never Fear and Rumsky have come together. And he will take his first victory of the season as he comes around the final corner. The first victory of the season, preliminary victory. He wins the Dutch Grand Prix, but with a dark shadow over the victory for the time being. Who was at fault for the incident? At the end, Rumsky finishes in 5th in the end. It was Matty 2nd, and Prof takes a podium place. Another podium for him this season. But Never Fear at the moment is our race winner. Could say that way, don't get me wrong. But I'm sure there will be a stewards report put in, and that will be investigated. But very difficult. Very difficult to judge that one. I'll try and go back and have a look to see what happened in just a second. A bit of contact there. It does look a little bit like he wasn't left enough room. Rumsky was a bit tight on the line of turn 2, 3, that right-hander into turn 3 anyway. There's your podium. Never Fear. Top step. Matty finishing in second place. Prof is third. Looney Man finishes in fourth. A great showing for the Aston Martin duo. Third in the championship. May move themselves up into second place after today. I think they will, even though Matty did finish ahead. Rumpsky in fifth. Sixth is Sniper. Seventh is Grant. Cold Steel finished in eighth. Ninth was Boy Knockout. Marshy was 10th. Diablo was 11th and one lap down. Pray for Ye and Raz and Destroy both did not finish the race today. And another DNF, unfortunately, for Pray for Ye, as I said earlier on, who has not completed a race so far this season. We'll be back next week for the Hungarian Grand Prix, of course, at the Hungaro Ring. So make sure to check us out for that one. Same time, same place, 8 o'clock. Apologies for the slight delay today. It was a struggle getting some of the drivers into the lobby. We'll see you next week for round 5. Thank you very much for watching. Keep subscribing to the channel and have a great rest of your week. Until then, bye for now.